Welcome to On Air with Kash. As this is the Halloween season, we have a special guest today. She's best known for her recurring role on the Travel Channel's #1 show, Ghost Adventures. She hosts her own podcast, The Witching Hour. Please welcome the Good Witch of Hollywood, Patti Negri.
Thank you so much, Cash. Happy Halloween, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patti, for coming on and joining us today. We've gotten to know each other a bit the last year, specifically with going
Yeah.
to events. How did you get into what it is you do, to be honest with you? I mean, you're very into the supernatural, the paranormal. What was the what was the motivator?
Kicking and screaming all the way. No, I actually, as far as like the mediumship, I've been talking to ghosts and spirits since I could talk. I knew that those so-called imaginary friends little kids have weren't imaginary at all. They were real spirits and beings. I can get information. And on even on the witchy side of things, I would be in a little suburban Long Beach backyard stuffing like rosemary in my mom's wallet, knowing it would give her more money. I mean, she didn't quite get that at the time, but it's like years later, I study it. Yeah, that's what it works for. So but I kept it really separate. It was like I ran a corporate production company for like 20 years. And it's like, these people cannot know, one, that I talk to dead people, and two, that I dance around bonfires in a cloak. I'll keep that my private life. But I've been doing seances since I was 7 or 8. But in 2008, when the big corporate crash came and corporate entertainment, which was my specialty, became a dirty word, and people were laying off people, they're like, we can't do whatever. So, and reality television was going the other direction. Somebody asked me, they go, Patti, I know your ability with seances, how you lift the veil. We need you to do a seance on a reality show. I know I can't do that. That's my private life. I can't. Please, please, please. I'm like, no, I just can't. And I'm looking at my empty calendar with nothing on it. Everything had crashed. And like, no. Well, what's the name of the show? And literally they go, well, it's called Mobile Home Disaster, and it's on country music television. And I'm like, well, nobody will watch that, right? 'Cause little did I know that everybody would watch that, what reality would become. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And it was the funnest thing I had ever done. All my improv and sketch came around. I got to really help this little human girl that everybody thought was crazy, because she was drawing portals on the ceiling of their mobile home. I'm like, no, there are portals on the ceiling of her mobile home. I got to help a spirit, got to help a girl. I'm like, oh my God, this is so fun, but never again, no more. This is it. No one's going to watch Mobile Home Disaster. It aired a couple months later. And of course, the very next morning, my first call was from my biggest corporate client, a national bank. And I'm like, hey, Patti, hi. Saw you on TV last night. I'm like, oh, my voice gets higher. And they're like, I didn't know you were into the paranormal. I'm like, yeah. She's like, I love the paranormal. And she went into her best ghost story. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm out of the closet. I'm out of the psychic closet, the medium closet, the broom closet. This is who I am. And I'd much rather do motivation via magic and spiritual world than motivation to the HR department at Microsoft, really, because that's my whole thing really is about empowerment and motivation. So it's way more fun. And now I just don't have time for that.
Is that
So
so? What's the most surreal thing that's happened during a séance?
um someone catching on fire at Marilyn Manson's house without
Whoa. Okay, now we got to talk about that. So, what exactly happened at Marilyn Manson's house?
Okay. It's a house. It's in my neighborhood. It's my neighbor. It was a house built by Charlie Chaplin for one of
Okay.
his many girlfriends, because he's got houses all over. For Mary Astor. She was a silent film star, big star of the day. Mary Astor in the 20s. It was a super party house. Super party houses can bring in some dark stuff, but it was a party house for years and years and years. And then they moved out. And then the Rolling Stones manager bought the house in the 1960s. So the Stones stayed there, Mamas and Papas, Graham Parsons, all these people. So creative, chaotic, big personality people. Then they moved out. Then the person who invented the real life sex doll moved in. And he even said it was a little spooky for him. This energy that's about it. It looks like a haunted house. It's this 4-level Spanish 1920s, but it looks like it was built like masons or something. There's literally a compass drawn in the floor at the entryway, which is a magical thing, like 12 circles around the turret with the round staircase. It's like, Wow. So anyway, he moved out, and then Marilyn Manson, who my neighbor for 7 years, moved in. And he actually ended up moving out too because it got spooky. So they were doing a documentary about it, called it the Mary Astor House, and how much chaos had happened in this house over the years. And I'm really good at seances. When my regular ones with regular people, we're going to talk to your grandma, stuff like that. But on Ghost Adventures or my TFIL boys, no, we're at the insane asylum or the serial killer. But this was not really going to be that. It was going to be a Hollywood. But one kid got disrespectful. My only rule is it's okay to be skeptical, whatever your belief system, that's great, but you have to be respectful. This one kid, maybe because he was on camera or TV or something, he was just being kind of an idiot. And Ghost didn't like it. It wasn't a demon. Demons get way too much credit. But first, cool things were happening. Like he'd say something, and the French doors of this old 20s house would fly open. And everybody's like screaming, screaming. And I'm going, well, that was pretty good. I've never faked anything. And then that happened again. And then a speaker on the floor came on with like white noise. It sounded like a spirit box that everybody uses that white noise spirit box, but it wasn't plugged in. But it's building and building, and I did not keep this kid in line good enough. So all of a sudden, we're working with a Ouija board, which I've again safely worked with since I was 7. But he said something ridiculous. We were talking about something had gone on in the 30s in the dirt basement, and not him, but the cameraman facing him burst into flames. Cash, it's like literally like a V up his back, like angel wings of fire up his back. Everybody's screaming. It was captured on 2 cameras, caught it. One camera started like filming the ceiling or the floor. You test the metal of a camera person by a small crowded room bursting into flames. His camera actually was facing the wrong way. He's wondering why everybody's screaming and pointing at him as his shirt is burning off. And cool witch medium Patty becomes medic Patty, which I am. I'm EMT certified cardiologist. I mean, drop and roll, and I'm calling in all my protectors to shut it down. Like, oh my God, this is not okay. This is not okay. No one bursts into flames, like Spinal Tap. I'm like, okay, we're done. We're done. This is dangerous. As I'm watching the blistering on his back and his shirt poof off him. But the cameraman, who's a super skeptic, was like, no, I'm okay. Just so blown away that he spontaneously combusted. He's like, I'm okay. I have a sweater I can put on. And no, I don't know. I talked to the ghost, and the ghost promised it would be good, and not so many words. And I knew the kid wasn't going to be trouble anymore at all. He was like the choir boy in the corner, like, oh my God, with somebody bursting into flames. So we finished it. But still, all sorts of stuff kept happening. But the happy ending to this is 3 weeks later. This is wild about magic and knowing what you're doing. 3 weeks later, the same cameraman, he showed me his back. He goes, look at my back. And where the blistering I had seen from all those whatever degree burns coming up, it literally looked like he had went and got a tattoo of a dragon. Open mouth, sharp teeth, winged head into the shape of a serpent. And that's the exact energy I called in to shut down the seance. I work dragon, scary, huh? I
Wow.
work dragon magic. It's crossroads magic. It's magic. Dragons have been around forever. They get a bad rap, but they're powerful. They can fly from heaven to earth, whether you believe they're fire-eating beast or the energy. And I'm looking at this like dragon, I'm like, oh my God, you have a tramp stamp of a dragon on your back. That is about the coolest thing I've ever seen. And so he wrote a script, a horror film. They haven't done it yet. A funny horror film with Stephen Norrington, the guy who wrote League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and the Blade series. And it's about this TV psychic who did every TV show, and then a portal opens. And then it becomes scary and funny. But I actually sat, and I hope they do it. I hope somebody fabulous plays me. But he keeps getting other projects. But I did sit down with him for 5 hours, and I'm like, you can't say that, Laurent. You can't say that. He goes, but you said that. I go, I know I said that. That really does something to the energy. It opens up something. You don't want to be one of those cursed horror films, do you? Because it happens all the time. Energy, a spirit doesn't know the difference of an actor reading a script, a method actor reading a script, going hala bala, whatever. than if it was somebody really doing it. That's why things happen. So if they ever do get around to doing it, I've changed all the words. They sound just as scary, but we're not going to open any portals to hell.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
Good idea. Yeah, yeah.
What do you like to engage with your guests on when you have your show with the supernatural and with the paranormal?
It's really it's I again, it's really about empowerment. I have guests, I have a lot of authors, a lot of Llewellyn authors, a lot of witchy authors. You don't have to be witchy, but just kind of and I'll have some new age people, but it's really all about whatever their particular method is or whatever they're doing. Because what I notice in my working with people all these years and is that in this modern age, people give their power away
Hmm.
all the time. They give their power away to other people, to fear, to limiting belief systems. And I'm not saying change your belief system, just grab your power back. If you don't have it, who or what you give it away to and get it back. We have the power. That's it. And again, it doesn't have to be religious or spiritual or paranormal or anything. So um, that's what my whole really passion is. And it's reminding people how amazing we are.
Oh, no, that's a good message, and I like to the stuff that you incorporate as far as because I felt it too even during the pandemic where you go to a familiar place that has some charge or there is that thing if you I've had experiences too, like I had some kind of experience in a certain place or situation, and then you
Yeah.
go there and you feel the energy of a specific time. Actually, I've been dead for just under a minute. I had a lethal
Wow.
arrhythmia when I was 22. I was revived. I came back, and there were so many parallels even into that story. Like just me. I was feeling like I was overdoing it, and I went down. I had this massive head rush. There was a woman who saw me go down. I was just when I got up, I was told this angelic looking woman saw you, said he went down and notified. There was a trainer a few feet away from me, and he wasn't scheduled to work, and he was one of the only employees who knew how to work the defibrillators that had just come in,
Wow.
and then he was training a producer from True Stories of the ER, and they just did an episode about defibrillators, which is what brought me back. So when you take all
Yeah.
those components and put them all, you're just whoa. So there was something else that I can't explain that happened.
Divine
So
intervention,
yeah.
divine guidance. Yeah. It's a dance. You're supposed to be here to do what you do. And people, there's fate and there's destiny and there's free will. And there has and that makes us super powerful to me. If we were all angels, they're great. They can protect and they can enlighten. That's kind of it. They can't cause shift or change though because they're dextral. They don't have that sinistral side. Sinistral doesn't mean evil. It means shift and change. So that's why I like dragons as well. But we have to dance between we can't control everything,
Mhm.
but but being knowing what we can control and knowing the change or react how we react to what we can't control again is that taking your power back. So that's awesome. I mean, that's pretty magical for you because this had to happen and that had to happen and that had to
Exactly.
happen.
Oh yeah.
One thing missing, it could have not be here right now.
Exactly. It's no, that changed my outlook on life as well too. And even afterwards, I overcame a lot of things. I addressed some stuff that I needed to get in touch with. What you're saying is very true about taking your power back. And I've felt like there were just situations, just whether it was being young or naive at
Yeah.
times, just I wasn't in full control, even just leading up to the arrhythmia. I just felt like I wasn't in full control of my life and I gave my power up or didn't speak and didn't I didn't take charge for a long time, and it's taken
Yeah.
a few chapters, some highs and lows. So no, I'm right with you on that, and I just admire what you do.
Thanks. Yeah, no, and we're always I mean, I hope to be learning till the day I pass over. With the more the more you know you don't know, and
Yeah,
it's amazing all the stuff
ain't
that's
that
out
the
there.
truth? I know you're
Ah.
on the road. You have a lot going on. What are your plans for Halloween?
My plans for Halloween, I'm going to be in New Orleans. I'm leaving about 2:45 this morning,
Okay.
to go to LAX. I'm going to we go there every year for the Endless Night Vampire Ball, and
Okay.
it's like 4 nights of taking over the Endless Night taking over the House of Blues. But this year we are actually being sponsored by AMC, the Interview with the Vampire, the new series.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so I am hosting the Witches Ball Friday night. I'm emceeing it and hosting it big. beautiful witches ball and doing magic and pulling in Mayfair witches, the Anne Rice story about that. Saturday is the big vampire ball, and we're kind of going period with that too, like, Gilded Age kind of stuff, like the new series. Sunday we have Babylon, another big, beautiful kind of Belle Epoque event. And then Monday is Halloween, and why not spend that in New Orleans? And then home Tuesday, because I got to go to Massachusetts on Wednesday.
You're
Or
always traveling,
Americon.
you're always having adventures. That sounds
Yeah.
like a very nice Halloween. Patty, I really can't thank you for your time. I'm glad we finally
Oh,
got to do this. It's always been a pleasure, whenever we get together at events. And really, I really admire what you do. I admire your outlook. I mean, please, everyone, give it up for the Good Witch of Hollywood.
thank you.
Patty,
Thank you, Cash. And everybody, whatever you do on Halloween, it's a time to celebrate the dead. So yes, we dress up, and all that actually has to do with the Samhain, which is the pagan holiday, but the veil is thinnest, and that's why you do dress up and light. And so put up a picture of your deceased grandma, light a candle for them, because they can communicate then, and that's really what it's all about.
well, you heard it from her, the Good Witch of Hollywood. Patty, again, enjoy your Halloween. We appreciate you giving us your time, and I look forward to some more adventures when you're back in LA.
Me too. Thank you so much, Cash.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for rocking out with me and Patti Negri today. You are on air with Cash.